Peasant Rebellion. Now, how does this have anything to do with the Freedom Truckers Convoy in Ottawa? My thesis is really that we've got a genuine list of grievances. Okay, there is an ideology that's a foundational aspect for why people are standing up and doing something, and that for us really is the Charter of Rights. That we've got a constitution, a Canadian constitution. Of course, the truckers had asked to meet, to discuss, to talk with the boy king, the tyrant, King Richard II, in this case Trudeau, so there's a connection there. We're also living in a time now where the charter has been completely dismissed, and that we have unjust laws. We've got laws that can just be enacted at any time. Remember also that the Emergency Act itself was not even passed through the Senate, which it never gotten a chance to do, but it was already being used. So they can just do things without actually putting them through Parliament, putting them through the regular political steps. We're at a time as well where people have lost faith in all politicians, just about, I would say, whether they're on the left or the right. The Conservative Party didn't do very much. You've got Jason Kenney, who talked about the WEF before, but of course that was maybe a year or 2 years ago, but that doesn't affect anything that he's doing today. We've got all kinds of politicians that seem to be making arbitrary decisions, and also a population that's ideologically informed, which also has priests on their side too. I'm going to put that out there. You've got Artur, right, who's been imprisoned, and we've got Pat King, who's in jail. Tamara Lich, who is now, she's out on bail, but can't meet anybody, can't socialize, can't be on social media. They're effectively have been gagged. So this is the world we're living in. It's very similar. In fact, I would say even the tyrant Richard II, the tyrant king, the boy king tyrant, it's very similar to what we got here with Trudeau. That's my personal opinion. I'd love to hear what your opinion is. And, let me know. Am I totally off base here thinking that this is like a peasants' rebellion of 1381? So the Black Death has just happened. Many people have been killed from the Black Death. The plague has just happened. It's 1381, and they've been putting in these new taxes. It's called the poll tax. This is the third time it's being instituted, and the poll tax is a flat tax. Doesn't matter about how much you earn. It affects everybody the same way. Everybody gets taxed that amount. Okay, so that's the scene. Here we have also preachers coming out talking about how people are equal. And there's this idea that's floating around now in 1381. It's been floating around for a while, that just because you're born as a serf doesn't mean that you should die as a serf, that there should be some social mobility as well, that people are equal. This is from the Christian faith, and people now, they've got this undercurrent, it's bubbling, that they don't think they should just be serfs, that they should have that ability. They know that people who are landlords and the top tier of society, that they're living large and that they just don't have it. So that's the scene. It's 1381, and the third poll tax has just been implemented. After the Black Death strikes, there's a lot more jobs. There's also land available. People are buying their freedom. They're no longer bound to the land as serfs or villains. Villains is the word. So these people are looking for opportunities, and they're increasing the amount that they charge for their services. And there's actual limits that are put in by the government, by the representatives, about how much they can charge. So there's a max level that they can charge. So rebels actually go in and they start to burn places down that house the records of who owns what, that kind of thing. They're burning records now. Their mission is to confront the king. It's important to note that these rebels did not actually want to topple the king. In fact, they swore an allegiance to the true commons. So on the 11th of June, they marched to London, and they have now thousands of people with them, and it's quite the disturbance. It's very similar to what we've seen here with the Truckers Convoy, and that's what I'm going to try to put this together. They've got a list of grievances. Many people say that these are completely unreasonable, and probably they are for the time. The total abolition of serfdom, a repeal of labor laws limiting the wage increases, free fishing and hunting rights for all, more peasant participation in local government, The crown should be the only authority in the counties, not local lords. The redistribution of the church's riches, These demands were ludicrous, okay? Absolutely ludicrous for the time, but these were their demands. Now, at this point, you've got what they call the tyrant boy king, King Richard II. And King Richard II, he actually meets with these people in an effort to try to quell the masses. And he meets with them, promising them all kinds of extravagant promises. And then after that, reneging and hanging everybody. So there's that. He met with the people, but he reneged and he actually hung everybody. And I'll tell you something else about the Peasants' Rebellion in 1381. Okay, so though it didn't end well for the rebels, there were real changes enacted. Poll tax was abandoned, so that third tax, that was abandoned. The limits on laborers' wages were not rigorously enforced, and serfs continued to buy their freedom. As well, law and legal records were now used not by landowners to enforce an obligation on labor, but to demonstrate that laborers actually owned that piece of land that was theirs. So there was definite positive changes that happened because of the Peasants' Rebellion, the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. Very famous, the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. Are we going to look at the Truckers Convoy the same way? Are we going to be thinking in 500 years from now, or I guess that's actually 700, closer to 700 years ago? Are we going to be looking at saying this was a massive change? Do we still have democracy? Are you represented? I would love to hear your opinions. Please leave your comments and let me know what you think. I highly appreciate it. Is the Truckers Convoy just akin to the Peasants' Revolt of 1381? Freedom Truckers Convoy. Hail, brethren. Hail, freedom. H for honor, A for accountability, I for integrity, and L for loyalty. Thank you.